here, which it's amazing we can do this now on the phone. It's just as good as it did. All right. Check 1, 2. Okay, Zach. Well, first of all, thank you for talking with me. Thank you for being here. And I'd just like to kind of get your input on how you think this will benefit Montgomery County having, and the counties around that have participated in having this type of program today.
I think knowledge is the key to everything. If we educate local law enforcement on what they can and can't do in various cases, animal cases, large puppy mill cases, dog fighting, and just generic animal cruelty, once they know what they can do, they're going to do it. And this is about lack of knowledge.
What is the minimal, and I hate to ask a minimum, but what's the minimal that a small rural county can do to still do their very best? I realize that resources are limited in rural counties and maybe more so than the bigger counties. Is that true? And if it is, what can they do?
Yes, we definitely see that the metro city areas have more resources and people to help. But there's no doubt Georgia has become one of those states that there are plenty of resources if you just reach out and find them. Animallawsource.org is one of the resources that is here today. But there's plenty of organizations that if there's a large impound case and involving multi-animals, they'll come down and set up and help work with the local government and move animals, vet animals, even sometimes cover the cost involved with that. But local sheriffs and police officers and animal control officers have the state law behind them to charge a defendant with animal cruelty right now. Our state law was amended in 2014, and it's one of the better laws in the United States.
When a citizen is suspecting that maybe animal cruelty is going on, when should they respond to their gut? When should they make that phone call?
When you see animal cruelty, it depends. It could be an exigent circumstance where the animal is actually about to die or almost on its way. And in those cases, you call 911, just like if it was a child that you saw in front of you suffering. You sometimes see neglect appearing over days at a time. And if you have local animal control in your jurisdiction, you should call animal control. But what we tell people is when you see animal cruelty, 911 is the number one thing to do. The sheriffs definitely have to be associated with it, or police. And the biggest confusion I see is that they often think that the Department of Agriculture involves themselves in animal cases. Well, they do, but they only involve themselves in licensed facilities or licensed pet dealers. But the truth of the matter is they're not a criminal arm of our law. The local jurisdiction, it's their authority, and they're the ones who have to initiate the animal cruelty charges.
We've had some really hot days, and you mentioned that the igloos are not the best place for your dog. Kind of expound on that.
Sure. So I have an affinity for German Shepherds. I've all my life have had German Shepherds. I know for a fact that 1 hour in our Georgia heat is very taxing on a German Shepherd. And I say German Shepherds, but any dog that is in direct sunlight in our state is so bad for the animal. It is true suffering. The igloos themselves, I know in North Carolina, a dog froze to death inside of an igloo. So we think of them as, okay, that's sufficient shelter. Well, it may not be. I can tell you if you stick a thermometer inside an igloo on a 95-degree day, it's probably going to be hotter in the igloo. So if that animal doesn't have any shade, it cannot escape the heat. And heat exhaustion is a big deal. And same thing in hot cars, too. We can't leave our animals in hot cars. And we just passed a law that allows law enforcement complete immunity should they have to break a window. And Good Samaritans do it all the time.
That's perfect.